Subnautica. It's been a while since I've played it, so I'm gonna start up a new save, actually. I've never beat it, but I have gotten partly into the story. Warning if you have thalassophobia. Thalassophobia? Thalassophobia? I don't know. Whatever it's called. It's either thalassophobia or thalassophobia. Because open water, so you can kind of tell, in case you didn't know what Subnautica is. So yeah, let's get into that. And we'll just do survival. Normal stuff. Fun fact, Subnautica is actually how I met my current boyfriend. It's great. I'm not gonna skip this part. Just for anyone who maybe hasn't seen Subnautica before, wants to see this part of it.
2, 1.
But yeah, my boyfriend and I, we met because I was streaming Subnautica actually, and he came in, he stuck around, and now I guess we've known each other for a little bit over a year, I think we've determined now, or really close to a year. So, just started dating in February. Looks like I may have suffered a minor case of serious brain damage. Oh shit, that's a... Dang bro, that's a house fire! You know those pesky house fires, like they're always getting in a game I just played on stream actually, over on my Twitch, shameless plug, Huma750 over on Twitch. Yeah, they were always having those pesky house fires over there. Okay, that was...
suffered minor head trauma. This is considered enough.
Minor case of serious brain damage.
PGA has now rebooted in emergency mode with one directive to keep you alive on an alien world.
I was trying to remember why her voice sounds so familiar. And it's because before I got this new phone, boyfriend totally gave me that pop socket, by the way. I love that fucker. Anyways, before I got a new phone, my notification sound, I had it as her saying new objective added because I thought it was kind of funny, you know? New objectives. Alright, press tab to close the PDA. Yeah. Okay, geez. I'll climb the ladder first and then I'll... Hello, sir. That's the Aurora, our ship that crashed. Anyways, as you can see, this is an alien planet. It kind of looks like Earth, but flooded. It is not, in fact.
The Aurora suffered orbital hull failure.
Personally, I'm a basic bitch, and one of my favorite fish in this game is the peeper. Pick up a couple of acid mushrooms. I'm sorry, I just realized how funny that is. And then probably should get some limestone.
Copper is an essential component of all power equipment.
I'm also going to...
Probability of survival has just increased to unlikely, but plausible.
I need that and that, so I'll pin those recipes for now. And then we'll go down the bottom here. Alright, cool. Because now... I'm gonna grab this guy. That little goober. There's scrap metal. Scrap metal doesn't help me much right now. Right now I need titanium.
Oxygen.
Yeah, some to surface so I can refill that. There's my pod. I don't know why that floats there though. I think I have to go this way. Everything in this game is honestly just a sea puppy. Creature egg. Like, everything in this game is so cute, even the Leviathans. I'm not even gonna lie. Like, I love the Leviathans. Personally, I do like the reef backs. They're kind of cool. But, yeah, it's my favorite fish is the peeper. I like the peeper just because he's, you know, like he's just a silly little guy, you know? Right, titanium, silicone. I know how to get silicone rubber, but I need to go over here for that. I also need cave sulfur, which I also know how to get that, but I should be getting the survival knife before I get the cave sulfur. So if I go down here, it's been a minute since I've played Subnautica, like even on my own, so I need up to the surface, like
Life
now.
on this planet grows in unusually distinct and diverse ecological biomes. Further study recommended.
So I need, okay. Now I need cave sulfur. In here. I'm gonna throw these. Well, I don't need all of my acid shrooms. Alright, those guys can all go. No. Close that. Fabricator. Silicone rubber, there we go. But I'm also gonna do this.
The fabricator draws from available data to provide environment-appropriate equipment using locally available materials. For your safety, this setting cannot be overridden.
Hello, sir. So these rocks. I hate trying to find the rocks. They're actually kind of annoying. Because they... Oh! Well, there's my first set of titanium. That was easy. But I do need one more titanium at least, so I do want to find another outcrop. And
detecting
boom.
sulfur deposits in the local cave system. Oxygen. Sulfur
Yeah,
is an
I know.
essential component of the repair tool.
Alright, so we've gotten that down. Cool. Dear Lord, I am not very far, and we are... Alright, so personal tools, we'll get the knife. Cool.
Weapons were removed from standard survival blueprints following the massacre on Abraxas Prime. The knife remains the only exception.
Abraxas Prime? Okay. Eat something. Okay. I'm gonna go back to my pod. This guy's so weak. Bro cannot go that long without food. SMH, no, I'm kidding. People should actually eat. And it's about to become nighttime, which some people find really scary. In this game. I don't, personally. But I also need to find the cave systems now. Because I don't quite remember where they are. Hello, glower. Oh, it's already dead. Cool.
Oxygen.
Also, instead of red, everything here bleeds. See, like, look how beautiful that is. Like, this is just generally a beautiful and well-made game. Like, I have ADHD, so I don't play the same game for very often. Now, because of my autism, I do also tend to latch on to certain games more than others, like I did with Portal, and my channel is evidence that I did that with Dead by Daylight. But Subnautica remains one of those games that I may not have latched onto it as hard as some of the others, but I keep coming back to it. Because there's like, oh cool, it has 2 moons! That's so cool. That explains the high tide. I might just barely make this. Yeah, barely. Certain games, I need to stop playing for a second to say this. Certain games I will come back to repeatedly but I won't necessarily latch on to them for very long. I might need to come back here during the day. Like, if that makes sense, right? Like, with Subnautica, I wasn't super inclined to watch a lot of people play it, or like learn more about the background, whereas with Portal, I know a lot about the background. Same with Dead by Daylight, I know a lot about the background, the lore, I know things about like what the game was originally supposed to be. But with Subnautica, I never really had that same need for that. What are you? Never had that. That didn't happen. Subnautica, to this day, I'd say Subnautica is probably one of the most well-made games that I've ever played. Because, number one, the graphics are amazing. The soundtrack is beautiful. The game takes skill, but it also doesn't, right? Like, you can explore, just take your time, do what you want, but there's also like a good story to follow, which leads me to my next point. Good storyline. Like, it's overall a very, very well made game. And yeah, I can barely see, but it's very well made. Cause like, right, not only is it like really beautiful for graphics, but also keep in mind, it runs decently well on my computer. Cause right now I'm running my recording software while also playing, and everything's still running relatively smoothly. Like, I've got like 4 other things open other than Subnautica, and Subnautica still runs really well. Okay, there we go. I took a small hit. But now we can grab his cave sulfur. And now we gotta get out of here and try not to die. We might not make this. If I had, like an air bladder or whatever, I could. Come on, come on, come on. Make it! Yes! Okay. That actually makes me wonder about coding language that was used. Like, I would imagine probably C++.
Distress signal received. Rescue operation will be dispatched to your location in 9 hours.
Portal ref. My bad.
Continue to monitor for emergency transmissions from other life pods.
Okay. So, and that means that eventually I want to unpin my recipes for now. Personal, no, tools. Now for equipment, I think I want to get me a better oxygen tank because mine kind of sucks. Which means I need to go get more outcrops, which means I need to go back to the caves. Which is fine, I can do that. Not only, okay, here's the other thing. Subnautica is not only like a really well-made game, but it's also, it's a game that appeals to a lot of people.
Oxygen.
And I'd say it's relatively popular. Like, I feel like if you're a gamer, you kind of know something about it. Like, regardless of what types of games you play. Like, for me, I think I actually really only started getting into gaming more last year or so. No, not last year, sorry. I guess about 2 years ago. Wow. Technically about a little over a year ago, but That's like when I really started getting into it. Dear Lord, I'm being chased. I really only started to really get into gaming the past year or so. And when I was first starting to get into it, like one of the first things my friends were like, oh yeah, like Subnautica was like one of their favorite games. And eventually I got told to play it because I was really stressed, and somebody said, hey, go get Subnautica, play that, and you'll be stressed about something completely different because it's really scary. And immediately when I played it, I'm like, this might actually become my comfort game because it's just generally so beautiful and it's relaxing. And as much as I like open water, I'm scared to be near open water, IRL. Because number one, I can't swim. Number two, I'm just kind of afraid of like what would happen, you know? Like if I were per se on a ship, like what happens if it sinks and goes down? Like then I'm just dead. Cause again, I can't swim. So I wouldn't know what to do in that situation. So that's more so what scares me. It's not the water itself, it's the risk about being near it. But I also find things like recently I might actually start being more interested in learning more about like what happened to the Titanic, because apparently recently we got a 3D model from like some, I don't know, some robots. I believe their names are Romeo and Juliet. Don't quote me on this because I haven't actually watched the documentary yet. But they took a bunch of pictures of the Titanic, and now high capacity, any glass, titanium, silver. Okay. I'm actually gonna pin that. And it took a bunch of pictures so that we could create a 3D model of the Titanic. And so now we have that, and we can actually confirm that the boiler room there were still people operating in there when it went down, so the lights actually would have stayed on. And we also learned that it made contact with the iceberg for, I want to say 6.3 seconds was the number. And we also think that if the iceberg had hit head on, if the ship had hit head on with the iceberg, it actually wouldn't have sunk. Which, like I said, I find some of these things really interesting, and I'd love to learn more. So that'll get us the battery that we need. And we just need one more titanium.
Acquired.
Okay. That. I'm so used to pressing escape to get out of menus like that, not to have. Back to the caves with me, I guess. Because I need more titanium. Actually, okay, fun fact. During my first ever playthrough of Subnautica, or like, you know, when I first started it, I had gone to, I forget which life pod number it was, but it was like really, really deep. And I went with like minimal equipment, like maybe high capacity oxygen tank, fins, maybe an air bladder, I'm not sure. And I managed to get down there, collect everything, and get back up to the surface before I ran out of oxygen. But then I get the good equipment, that you're supposed to go down there with, and I actually did not make it back to the surface. Which, I don't know, I personally find that kind of funny. Ow. That actually hurt. Not too long ago, I had an obsession with sharks. I mean, I still kind of do. Like, I have a bunch of sharks on my desk. I've got a finger puppet, I've got a 3D printed shark, I've got one from the Outback Steakhouse when I was down in the States recently, I've got a hammerhead from the dollar store, I've got a shark that you put in water for it to grow, and I've got another 3D printed hammerhead. Like, I've got a lot of sharks. I have a shark tooth just beside me on the wall here. It's in a bag, so it's hanging off of my Huntress poster that I have as well. But, like, sharks are like a big thing for me. I've also got like a squishy shark light, and I love it. Its name is Stevie. Yeah, like sharks, and then my obsession with sharks kind of got me a little bit more interested in, hey, what other things are in the water, you know? And it gets interesting. Like, I've always found that, I guess, kind of interesting. As scary as it is, it's really cool. And the fact that there's things in the ocean that we don't know. We don't know they're there. We don't know what they are. We don't know what they do. Because they're deeper than we can really go. Or with the slightly more recent, like, past couple of years, like, that sub that was meant to go exploring the Titanic, I forget what it was called.
Receiving pre-recorded distress call, laying back.
This is LifePod 3, uploading our coordinates. We're plugging some holes in our emergency sea glide, so if we're late for the rendezvous, don't panic. Also, don't go home without us. Seriously. 3 out.
Signal location uploaded to PDA.
With the sub implosion, as it was, I actually find it interesting knowing why that happened and how it happened and, like, what essentially would have happened.
Can be used to synthesize blueprints.
Is it fucking terrifying? Yes! Would I ever want to go in a sub, especially by some billionaire who is very much cutting corners? Fuck no. Would I think it's cool? Absolutely. But, you know, it's cool. Sorry, I had to get my camera refocused. It had something to do with compound of metal was used, and one of the types of metal that was in the compound wasn't suitable for the amount of pressure that it had to be put under. So, yeah. That didn't end well. We all know how that ended. But I remember hearing that, like, shortly after the incident. But I still feel bad for... There was, I believe, an 18-year-old aboard that sub. And I still feel terrible for that poor kid. They didn't even want to go. But it is what it is, I guess. But yeah, anything and everything to do with the ocean, it just absolutely fascinates me. I have a calendar of just sharks on my wall. This might actually be the first calendar so far that I've actually remembered to switch for as long as I have, because I think it's cool, and I love sharks. And I will not stop saying that. Sharks are better than dolphins in every single way. Sharks, actually, I'm pretty sure people die on average to sharks less than they do dolphins. Because dolphins are freaky creatures. I cannot say on YouTube what those freaky creatures are up to either. Like,
Integrating new PDA data.
There's something else I'm missing right here. The data box.
Fluid intake.
Alright, and now we'll go.
New blueprint acquired. Caution. Continued degradation of the Aurora's drive core may result in a quantum detonation.
I know.
Continuing to monitor.
The Aurora's gonna blow up. I've been inside of the Aurora before. But, you know, that was a long time ago, so I kind of forget how and when. But there's so many things that are just interesting with the way they work. Like thunder and lightning, tornadoes and how they form. The ocean is really fascinating. I like space, but I'm more scared of space than I am the ocean, and I always have been, because to me, space, there's a lot more things there that I think if people find and we bring back to Earth, there's more chances of the human race just going, you know? Because there's so many species of not just even like more intelligent life, but bacteria. And the bacteria that's not acclimatized to Earth or people, our antibiotics might not do anything for the bacteria. Or if it does, then what happens when the antibiotics stop working? That's actually also an issue, and why doctors don't like to
Vital signs
prescribe
stabilizing.
Antibiotics unless they actually have to, because that's how we get more deadly mutations, and it's bad. But yeah, what if we also piss off some other type of intelligent life that's got more advancements than us? What if we fuck up somebody else's timeline by showing them things that are more advanced than them? Right? Like, there's just so many things about space that I think should just stay unexplored. Whereas the ocean, I feel like our priority should lie more with the ocean, because that's what's here, and I feel like we should know more about what's on our own planet. That's just my opinion, though. I think it's cool. Like, earlier, I saw someone yapping about how the Kraken could essentially
Alien life form
just be
unexpected
a giant squid, or like,
is a proven survival strategy.
because apparently again, don't quote me on this, I don't know, I haven't fact checked, but when squids are dying, they kind of fill their lungs with ammonia, and then when they get so that they float. When they get to the surface, they'd probably be a bit freaked out, start flailing around, trying to figure out if there's anything they're touching, you know, sensory things. And if it finds a boat, latches onto that. Also cryptids. Cryptids and cryptozoology are actually really interesting as well. I haven't gotten as into cryptozoology as I was hoping I would have. My personal favorite, actually, was the Loveland Frogman. Just because he's a... Hey, you know what? I'll put a picture of him up on screen, because he's just a freaky little guy. And he's just vibing. He never tries to hurt anyone. He's often seen with, like, I don't know, I guess a wand. A sparking wand or something? I don't know. But he's just cool. Peeper. Asshole. I don't know. I think it's cool. And the fun thing with cryptozoology is, yes, by most scientists and most people, it's considered a pseudoscience. But keep in mind, there apparently have been cryptids that have been proven to be true, or something like that, I think. There was, like, I think giant pandas used to be among those. And, well, those are very real. So, say what you want. Right, I was looking for silver. Mothman, people believe, is not a... how do I say this? Not a violent being, but rather a messenger of, like, bad things to come. An omen. That's the word. And I'd actually love to get more into cryptozoology, but unfortunately, I don't really know where to start, so... Oh, fairy tales. Do not get me started on fairy tales. I absolutely love the real versions of fairy tales, not the Disney versions, the real versions, because
short-range scans
they're darker, and now that I'm older, I like them more. Like, if I had heard them when I was younger, I wouldn't have found them as interesting, and I actually probably would have been scared of them. But I'm getting too close to the Aurora. But oh, hello, Reefback Leviathan. But, there's, like, the real story of, or not even the real story, because there's so many versions of these fairy tales. Like, there's versions of Cinderella where actually her mom isn't alive either. There's versions of well, I believe the Grimm version of the Little Mermaid. Yeah, I don't think I can say that either, but she may have herself in the end. I don't remember. That one I'm less familiar with. But they're interesting to read or listen to, or even just know more about. Because that's also...
Discord.
There's my Discord. I don't know, it's interesting. And there are people out there who think that the fairy tales of Cinderella are bad messages for kids to be learning. But I disagree. Like, are they sometimes violent in them? Yeah. Like Hansel and Gretel? Yeah, Hansel and Gretel. They killed a witch by throwing her into a hot oven. That's pretty dark. But I'm pretty sure kids aren't going to get the message that they should just start throwing people into ovens from that, you know? Or they're not gonna learn to steal, because I think Hansel and Gretel steal some of the witch's jewels and they bring them back. I don't know. I think it's all really cool.
Congratulations, survivor. You have exceeded your weekly exercise quotient by 500%. data indicates that swimming was your favorite activity. Be sure to vary your routine for uniform muscle development.
Yeah.
Vital signs stabilizing.
My favorite activity. For me, I'm really into the abnormal psychology rather than psychoacoustics or, you know, typical psychology or social psychology or any of those things. I find abnormal psychology to be the most fascinating, but it's also what affects me the most because I have autism and ADHD. And abnormal psychology includes pretty much all of the personality disorders and pretty much everything in the DSM-5. And it's interesting to know, right? Like, the number of things that I know about autism, like, I know quite a bit. I know quite a bit about ADHD. I know what all the 10 personality disorders are and how they affect a person. How that person would behave if they had one. I know about dissociative identity disorder, aka DID, formerly known as multiple personality disorder. Like, there's just so many of these things that it's interesting to know and learn how, like, these people work and function. Like, ASPD, antisocial personality disorder, they essentially just lack empathy and they're more likely to be manipulative and do things for their own personal gain. Narcissistic personality disorder, they kind of put themselves on a pedestal, but they also sometimes have really low self-esteem, but they hide that because they see it as a flaw. I think since the Aurora hasn't quite exploded yet, I'm gonna end my recording there. See you guys later.